is the Dr. Paul Show, a woman's personal guide to understanding men. And now, here's Dr. Paul.
Hi, this is Dr. Paul. Welcome to the Dr. Paul Show, and we got a show for you tonight. Jealousy, the green-eyed monster. Or is it? Little quote here by a well-known author. I'm not going to mention the name, but if your boyfriend or girlfriend gets jealous, it's because he or she is faithful. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Never thought about that before, have you? Neither have I. Came across that early in the week, and I found that it seemed pretty accurate. What is jealousy? Well, a lot of people say envy, but no, not really. Envy can evolve from jealousy. Somebody's jealous of your happiness, your accomplishments, what you have, and they're trying to bring you back down. Something you're happy for, they don't like it because they're not there. They are envious. But that's not what I would call passionate jealousy. They're jealous of a thing. They're jealous of your happiness, like I said, or something of a material nature, but it's still envy, really. They say, well, they're jealous of your happiness. Well, that may be. They want to pull you down. Oh, that may be, too, to make themselves look better. But what about jealousy? Where is that rage if you're really angry? Well, we're going to hear about some of that from some of the authors that we're going to quote. Even animals show jealousy. We're talking with my producer here, Bill, before the show. Tell me about that, Bill. What about that jealousy in animals? You were talking about some animals you own.
Well, when I pet my cat and pet my dog, both of them get jealous.
So they kind of really do get jealous. You see that, right?
Yeah, I've been jealous all day today.
You mean the cat and dog has been?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a human thing. It's an animal thing. So if you see that you are having a problem with an animal, maybe two animals, and one runs over when the other one's being petted, hey, guess what? That's a form of jealousy, all right? It's not a great form. Sibling rivalry is a form of jealousy. But let's see what some of the authors have to say about jealousy, and I like some of these. The first one is actually envy. The worst part of success is trying to find someone who is happy for you. Isn't that true? Ever had anybody say to you, well, I just got my degree, I went to the ceremony on Friday night, and they say, that's nice. Well, they're not really happy for you, are they? They're kind of envious, aren't they? Oh, isn't that nice? That's wonderful, but they don't really mean it. You can feel they don't really mean it. So that's a form of envy. Here's another form of envy. Envy is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. You've seen that. I've seen that. How do you feel about that, Bill?
Well, speaking of your jealousy there, Dr. Paul, I do get jealous, like if I'm trying to get a high-profile person for a show.
Right.
And they tell me that, Joe Geflodenhopper is not running for whatever, let's say vice president.
Right.
And so, I say, Joe, if Joe Geflodenhopper is not running for president, then why is Joe Geflodenhopper on Fox News or CNN? And why is it that Joe Geflodenhopper, they can call him, but me as an independent journalist or an honorable discharge veteran, I can't have the same access as they do, and it makes me jealous all the time.
And rightly so, because you have a reason to be there.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't have. Do you think jealousy is healthy?
I believe it's healthy. It's part of human nature.
Good for you. I agree with you. That was a test question, Bill. I was testing you. You passed well.
I know.
Congratulations.
So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there jealous tonight listening to the Dr. Paul Show.
You're probably right.
And here's a simple number to call. Toll free, 1-866-826-1340, or our local number, 727-441-3000.
Thank you. I think you're right. I think there's a certain amount of healthy jealousy. And I'm going now to beyond envy, which we just said envy is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Carrie Fisher said that, and she's right. Because if you're envious, it's going to hurt you in the long run. And I've seen groups of people who are envious of other people. It is something that's going to affect them more. In fact, what's really going to happen is the person they're envious of is just going to withdraw themselves from that group. They don't need to have that hassle, that harassment, that problem. Now, here's one I like. This is rage, passionate rage. I like that. It shows somebody has fire. fire in the belly, like they said. The woman says, and yes, I'll admit I'm jealous. I'm jealous of every minute you spend with him, of every concerned expression you send his way, of every tear shed, of every glance, of every touch and every thought. I want to rip him to pieces and purge him from your mind and from your heart, but I can't. It's Colleen Houck, okay? That's rage. That's passion. That's real. That person is jealous. Really jealous. So, you see, we have it in us. And there's more. Oh, but there's more, as they say on TV, right? I've never been jealous before I met you. It burns, love, like silver through my veins. Some nights watching you with other men on your jobs, I think it will drive me mad. That's Ginny Frost at Gravesend. Ooh, passion there, right? Here's one I like by one of my favorite authors, Sean Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens in this case. Isn't it kind of silly to think that tearing someone else down builds you up? But how often does that happen? You see groups of people who get behind your back and they talk and gossip, and the more they talk, the worse it gets. That doesn't help them. They think that by tearing you down, it builds them up. It doesn't happen at all. Nothing. It only diminishes you. But it's hard to tell people that, isn't it? Here's one with passion. Margaret was not a ready lover, but where she loved passionately and with no small degree of jealousy. That was author Gaskell, North and South. I'll read that again. Margaret was not a ready lover, but where she loved passionately and with no small degree of jealousy. Ooh, I like that passion. You know that person's there, alive, fire. Envy, and this is now going back to envy. The thermometer of success is merely the jealousy of the malcontents. The more somebody's jealous of you, the more envious they are, the more successful you are. Isn't that sad? But it's true. It really is. Well, he doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve that, right? It's envy, but it brings itself out. Another one. Jealousy isn't a pleasant quality, but if it isn't overdone, and if it's combined with modesty, apart from its inconvenience, there's even something touching, something beautiful about it. And that's author Kundera in his book, Laughable Loves. I like these. I hope you're getting as much out of this as I am. Here's one that's just quick. If you can't accept yourself, then certainly no one else will. True. So if you accept yourself, nobody can really, they can be envious, but they're not going to touch you. They're not going to touch your soul, your spirit, your you, yourself, what you found. We're going to break right now. We'll be back right after the upcoming messages.
To be on the Dr. Paul Show, call toll-free 1-866-826-1340 or 727-441-3000. Dr. Paul continues in a moment.
And now, back to the Dr. Paul Show.
And we're back with some of the quotes by famous people about jealousy. Here's one. I like this. You can't be yourself without jealousy. And that's by attorney Beta, Master of Stupidity. You can't be yourself without jealousy. I like that. The more you love, you have to give. It's the only feeling we have which is infinite. The more you love, the more love you have to give. It's the only feeling we have which is infinite. And now I will end with this, my favorite, William Shakespeare. I love the man. The world's a stage, right? William Shakespeare, so full of artless jealousy is guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt. And there you have it. I have enjoyed bringing this to you, and I hope that you've enjoyed hearing them as well. I'm going to hit a couple more before the end of the show. In the meantime, I'd like to thank Frida Drake for having me on as her guest tonight. I'm sure some of that will be on on YouTube, and I am sure we will get responses from it. And I would also like to thank some of my fans. You're going to love this one, Bill. I'd like to thank all of my fans who sent emails wishing me Happy Mother's Day. I have no idea what they mean by that. Would you imagine what that means, Bill? I guess not. He's laughing back there. Well, so it goes. Who are my fans anyway? This is incredible. Men and women both, Happy Mother's Day. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I did too. LOL, right? All right, we're going to the emails, and here's one right now. Dear Dr. Paul, thanks for the advice. Okay. The email you read last week was right on. I did the same thing the other lady did when I gave my fiancé a hard time. Okay, let me bring you up to speed on that. That was where the woman said she's been a fool. I'm sorry now. I dated a super guy and treated him not as good as I could. And the reason is this book by a woman who said men really like bitches. Oops. The more you treat them badly, the more they will come after you. It's like a challenge. I don't want to say should thanks to you, but I shouldn't have listened. He warned me over and over and just thought he was being defensive. One day he said he was leaving and moved out, and that was it. We talked about that and went through that, and that's what this lady is responding to. Okay, so she's saying that I did the same thing the other lady did when I gave my fiancé a hard time. I thought he would want me more, and it was that I was a challenge. He was always upset by it, and one day he asked me why. I told him I know men like to get a hard time from a woman. He asked, where did you hear that? I finally told him I had read it in a book. He wanted to see it, and so I showed him. He looked at it for a while and then asked a question that reminded me of you, Dr. Paul. Uh-oh. He said, are you going to let this woman tell you how to live your life? Sounds like Dr. Paul, doesn't it? Then he said, if you want to live your life with me in it, you better be yourself. OMG, she says. I was hit by lightning because you said if you want to know about a man, why ask a woman? And that's just what I was doing. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Our girls' softball team loves you. Well, thank you for sending this in. I'm glad you had that information last week, and I'm glad this happened for you because you can turn it around now. Great. I'm happy for you, and I'm sure that your fiancé is equally happy. Saved by that one, right? Good. Okay, I have a question for the Love Doctor. You have said many things on YouTube. Okay, that's true. One was the idea that women look at sex differently. That's what I said. I think it was the Dr. Paul show on YouTube. You said that many women can be 10% to 40% bi and still be heterosexual, but they still enjoy the bi experience. Okay? That made me feel better for sure. Well, apparently she's in this category. But my question is this. How do I let my fiancé know that this, and what do I do to keep him from getting angry or feel that I am cheating on him with another woman? A lot of women I work with like your videos, so we think you're right in what you say. Thank you. Wow, I'm on the spot, Bill. They think I'm right with what I say. This is a tough one. It's not really that tough. Let me go through this a minute. You have a fiancé who apparently doesn't know that you have some bi preference. What that percentage is, who knows? Between 10 and 40%. Let's say it's right in the middle. Maybe it's 25% or 30%, whatever it may be. Well, I'm going to tell you this. You need to sit down and have a chat with him. You need to sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk with him. No drinks, whatever. Say, listen, we need to talk. We need to let you know something. Tell him it has nothing to do with you. It's just that sometimes I feel like I'd like to be with a woman. And ask him how he feels about it. And then say nothing. Let him say how he feels. Now, if he has some insecurity or some religious reasoning or whatever it may be, that's a whole nother story. If it's an insecurity, you can overcome that. And you can say, look, I want you to feel as comfortable with this as you do, and I'm going to hit a little more on the subject, and that will be, I want you to know that I'm not going to do anything behind your back. Because when you're telling him, how do I keep him from getting angry or feel that I am cheating on him with another woman, you might suggest to him that I'm going to do this with you, not without you. You're going to find that this is not going to be an easy task. If you have a man who is really sophisticated and he understands and he's saying, that's fine. I have no problem with that. a lot of men will get upset about doing something behind their backs, and that's where you want to kind of make sure that you get all the ground rules in before something happens, because all he needs to do is find out, and please believe this, whoever you're involved with may be more than happy to tell your fiance that you had a bi affair with them. Bill, you have a comment?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you think that our own government makes us jealous? For instance, back in the day, it was black and white. Now it's, about gay marriage. It's like our government wants to get us frustrated about this situation.
Well, I think that's a wedge issue with a lot of politicians, and I feel this way about it. I've said this on the air before. If you don't believe in gay marriage, don't marry a gay. If you don't believe in abortion, don't have one. I mean, it's that simple. Don't tell me I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you don't believe in gay marriage, then don't marry a gay. If you don't believe in abortion, then don't have one. But don't tell your fellow man what to do. Do you agree with that, Bill?
I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. Our government wants to get us all hostile.
Well, it's not so much the government as it is the politicians. They got to make a differentiation between government and politicians. Okay, and going back to this situation with this woman who says, "How do I keep him from getting angry or feel that I am cheating on him with another woman?" And you're right. That's very astute of you to look at this, because a lot of men are going to say, "Hey, that makes me feel insecure. You like a woman better than me." But that's not it. You have a desire for him as you're a heterosexual woman. You just like to have some variety in being bi, which is fine. He has got to really get on board with that. And you need to let him know, because the worst of all worlds is this. You get married, and then he finds out later. That's a very bad time to find out. You need to be upfront with it, right up front. Don't go to a marriage counselor, because I can tell you right now, many of them are going to be, unlike Dr. Paul, they're going to make moral and value judgments. You don't need that. Don't go to some religionist and ask them. You know where they stand already. Don't let them put a guilt trip on you. This is not a matter of guilt. It's a matter of desire. Okay? Just because you have a desire doesn't mean you have to carry guilt for it. Okay? So don't let that be an issue. Now let's go back to the issue at hand. And that is this. You have to sit down with him. You have to explain it to him and let him know that it has nothing to do with your feeling for him. I love you. I love you completely, and it has no bearing on our relationship. I just like to have a woman on occasion. And if you'd like to be involved with that, that would be fine. Now, whether he observes or participates, that's up between the two of you. But the fact is that you need to make some agreement with him in regard to this. And don't come on as a surprise after the fact. If you go to a sociologist or a psychologist or a marriage counselor or whatever, you're probably going to get the answers you don't want. And I'm going to tell you I will tell you the truth whether you like it or not. I'm Dr. Tough Love, and I'm letting you know that you needed to be upfront with him, be very candid with him, and say, here it is. Done. End of sentence. He either likes it or he doesn't like it. He'll like it. Believe me, he's going to love you. He's going to say, well, I understand. I've been in school with women who have been bi, had some experiences that way. Okay. Maybe I wouldn't mind observing or participating, whatever. It's up to you two to make that choice together. You are where you are. He is where he is. Make that choice together. Bill, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Good. Okay, you find that to be a pretty solid answer for what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
You can't surprise somebody and shock somebody after the fact. You need to be upfront with them, and you need to do it. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for you to do, because you're going to feel better about yourself. And you may be surprised. You may say, I'm glad you really told me that, because I had already had my doubts. I already had my questions about that. They may already have a feeling about it. So it's very good that you take care of it up front. Well, that sounds like a decent response, doesn't it? And thank your ladies at the office for enjoying my video. I'm glad that you all do that. Okay, shortly coming up to a little break. We've covered some territory here, and we're going to go back in a little bit and go over those jealousy quotes. This is Dr. Paul. We'll be right back after these upcoming messages.
If you have a question for Dr. Toffolo, call toll-free 1-866-826-1340 or 727-441-3000. Dr. Paul returns in just a moment.
All right, little jealousy there from, who's that, Bill? Nancy Merchant?
That is Natalie Merchant.
Natalie Merchant, that's it. Thank you. Very good. All about jealousy there. We're going to clip onto one here as well. Thank you. That hits the spot. Got the job done. Here's one that's good. Passionate anger. I love this one. When I thought of Eric with someone else, I wanted to rip out all his beautiful blonde hair by the roots in clumps. Ooh, passion, anger, it's there. Fire. That's Charlene Harris in Dead Reckoning. Whew, I love it. Here's a good one. Instead of playing to win, and this is from Sean Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens again. Instead of playing to win, I was playing not to lose. There's a difference. It reminds me of the story I once heard about 2 friends being chased by a bear. When one turned to the other and said, I just realized that I don't need to outrun the bear. I only need to outrun you. That makes sense, doesn't it? It's like the second mouse gets the cheese, right? The first one gets whacked. All right, and one more. Envy is for people who don't have the self-esteem to be jealous. So that's the difference between envy and jealousy, okay? Well, we went through those, and I think we found out the differences, and we found out that jealousy's not all bad. I mean, if somebody doesn't give a rip about you and they say, well, whatever, go wherever you want to do, whatever you do. You want somebody that doesn't care? Because guess what? That doesn't speak well of you, and it certainly doesn't speak well of him or her, whichever. All right, back to the emails. I have a question for Dr. Paul. Can you answer this, Dr. Paul? I don't know. We'll see. Why does my boyfriend text and email me and even talk on the phone with no problem? But when we talk in person, he tightens up. He says he can't speak before a group and won't even read a text in church. How can I help him about this? Okay. Being in your presence, apparently he cares about you. So one of the factors happens to be that being with you makes him a little bit uptight. He doesn't feel comfortable because he sees you there and he may be a little self-conscious, and he definitely is self-conscious with others because he has difficulty speaking before a group, he said, and he can't even read something before a group, as you said, a text in his church. So now he's with you, and he apparently gets uptight about being in your presence, and he's a little bit tongue-tied and maybe a little bit shy, a little bit bashful, and he sees you, and maybe you're an attractive lady, I'm sure you are, and this causes him some consternation. I like that word, consternation. There are other words I like, but I can't repeat them on the air. So I think you need to make him feel more relaxed. Sit down with him, maybe outside, kind of cool evening, that type of thing, and say, let's call him John. I don't know what his name is. I'm not saying your name here. So, John, I want you to know something. We sit in a swing, going back and forth, and maybe the dog's sitting there, and it's a nice evening, and the wind is blowing, and you say, John, how can I make you feel more relaxed? And listen to what he has to say. What do you mean? What do you mean relaxed? Well, John, I feel that you kind of are easy to talk to, on the phone even, texting, email, but one-on-one, you and I, you just feel a little bit uptight. Is there something I can help you to relax about? Then maybe rub his back, and say, and get him to talk. Get him to say how he feels. Was there some time that you had at some point in your life where that made you feel nervous about being around somebody? And then you'll bring it out. When you do, play nickel psychologist. When you do, then you say, well, I understand that. I understand how you feel about that situation, but, I'm here with you. You're important to me. I love you. And I don't want you to feel uptight about this because I want you to feel comfortable with me like I feel about you. Turn it around. I want you to feel comfortable with me just like I feel comfortable with you. How would you feel if I was nervous around you? And you'll say, well, I wouldn't want that. Well, no. Well, I wouldn't want that either. I'm only trying to help you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm only trying to help you. And that will make him feel more relaxed. So I would think that might be the best way to handle it.
You're right.
Thank you, Bill. It makes people more at ease.
It's hard for me to relax sometimes. I get into these, you want to hear the answer that you want to hear. And sometimes you don't hear that answer.
No.
And then you get like that soft voice or whatever. I call it sometimes the word that I use is intellectual BS.
Okay.
That's the word that I use.
Right.
And I'll tell the person, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear about how long you've worked there. I don't want to hear about this. I want to hear an answer to my question, and I don't want to hear you telling me what the answer should be.
Well, there's a difference, Bill. Remember, as I tell my listeners and my viewers, if you want to hear what you want to hear, you're going to have to go somewhere else. I'll tell you the truth whether you like it or not. So if you ask Dr. Paul a question, Bill, and I'll say, well, Bill, here's how I see it from my background and experience. Now, you can take it or leave it, but that's my professional opinion. And I'm not going to BS anybody. And that's why I get in so much trouble with a lot of the other psychologists, sociologists, marriage counselors, et cetera, right?
So how do you get frustrated when you get in an argument? Does it get your blood boiling when you're talking to these other psychiatrists?
No. You know what the Greek said? The God's anger whom they would destroy. No, I don't. Because it's just like a chess game. It's mental chess. As soon as you get into a confrontational situation, Sun Yat-sen, the art of war, you always attack from the flank, never a direct confrontation. Like General MacArthur said, hit them where they ain't. And that's what he did. They weren't prepared for him to be at this position. That's where he was, and they were done. So that's how I look at it. But I do mean that. When I tell people I've had people call my show, I've had people on the air, I've had people email me and say, I'm not going to listen to you anymore, Dr. Paul. That's fine. You don't have to listen to me because you didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. Fine, that's good. Go elsewhere. I don't want to have you on. You don't need to be here. Sometime thereafter, I'll get a call back from them, or I'll get an email back from them. Well, Dr. Paul, you were right. I did go to somebody, and they told me what I wanted to hear, but I knew it wasn't the truth. But at least you don't try to, put the fog of what I want to hear around me. You tell it like it is. And, a lot of times I get emails from people who say, I don't particularly like you, Dr. Paul, but I do respect you. I don't care if you like me or don't like me. If you respect me and what I'm telling you, that's all I ask. Yes.
Well, mothers always have that one-liner, you can get more honey. You can get more honey to attract bees if you keep on using your honey. But what if you run out of the honey?
Use vinegar, like me. Well, remember, moms have only your best interest at heart. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and moms always like to put guilt trips on you, right? No matter what, they'll put guilt trips on you. I know it's attract more. What is it? You can attract more flies with honey than you can with vinegar, that type of thing.
Yeah, but who's thinking of a fly, right?
Well, yeah, but the point is that you're talking about people, and that's what you want to do. There's a time to schmooze and a time to be honest. And I frankly tell you, I've had women that I've approached, and they'll say something, and I'll say, well, you know what? This probably wouldn't work anyway. It was nice meeting you. And they look shocked because most guys say something smart, become defensive, and I don't. Have a nice life. They'll come back later and say, well, why did you say that? Because I meant it. Well, nobody ever said that to me before. Well, nobody is Dr. Paul before. I'm it. That's how it is. Well, would you like to talk now? No. Why not? Well, because you told me how you felt already. Finally, you take it away from them, and they'll want to come to you. You follow that?
Oh, that's what I did. That with Pam Bondi's public relations gal. I told her,
Good.
I'm running out of honey. Can you help me? And she goes, oh, well, I take offense to that. Like that, she says.
She takes offense to that?
Oh, that's not very professional, what you're telling me.
Well, and you said what? But you did get Pam Bondi on the show, right?
Yeah, I did finally. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was, it's jealousy. It's
misunderstanding in that case, and you ask her, say, well, I understand how you feel. Let me know, has someone else said this to you? And then she'll open up. Because there's a reason why she said that before. Somebody has said something to her in a similar fashion, and she took issue with it.
Oh, I see.
Okay, it's from her background of experience that she's responding the way she is.
I do learn a lot listening to the Dr. Paul Show.
Well, thank you, Bill. We won't charge you extra for that. Moving right along. New letter. Dear Dr. Paul, I need advice. I sent this to you because a friend of mine is wanting me to go on a diet with her. Oh, that doesn't sound good already. I don't need to go on a diet, and she does. Oops. We got some good ones tonight. What I don't like is that she only talks about that and wants me to go shopping with her to get smaller clothes so she will have a goal to fit into them. I've heard about that, and that is not a bad technique. If she goes out and buys smaller clothes, she'll be motivated to lose weight. Or she'll have a closet full of smaller clothes and nobody to get into them, especially her. All right, that does make some strange sense, but it's logical, and I can buy into that. It's like she doesn't have a life. Yeah, I hear that. I want to be her friend, but she is driving me crazy. That's why you sent this email to Dr. Paul. I know this may not be what you do, but you have a lot of good ideas on YouTube, so I think you could help. Thank you. I hope so. All right. What you need in this case is to get her off the focus that she's on. And she's on a focus of losing weight. Or you can go into that with her. Apparently you don't want to go into that with her, but you can change the focus somewhat. And one of the ways in which you can change that is to get her involved with helping others. Maybe she can get involved with helping seniors. Maybe she can get involved with the Diabetes Society in your area. When she starts seeing what diabetes can be, and she starts seeing people who are overweight, that may be a greater motivator for her than anything else. Or children with diabetes. That may be the way to go. I would suggest that you get her involved in some sort of charitable cause that makes her look outside of herself, because she's becoming more and more self-possessed with this issue. And she's bringing you into the loop. And what are you becoming? You know what you're becoming. You're becoming an enabler. You're enabling her more and more. So you don't want to do that. It's not helping her. Get her out of that mode. You said she's your friend. She's driving you crazy. And you want to make sure that she pulls out of it. The best way to do that is to help others. And go with her and do it. There might be some people that might be interesting for you to meet in that regard. Okay, so again, yeah, she's driving you crazy. And apparently she is, because you're coming up with this letter to me, and I can see what you're saying. As far as the buying smaller clothes so she fits into them, like I said, I've heard that theory before. I have some emails from people who say, yeah, it worked for me, so maybe, try it. We're going to break right now. We'll be right back after these messages.
And now, back to the Dr. Paul Show.
Welcome back to the Dr. Paul Show. This is Dr. Paul, and we're going through some letters tonight. You said we got... Oh, Bill, go ahead.
I got an email right here for you, Dr. Paul.
Okay.
And it says, was Jesus ever jealous?
Wow. Well, I can't speak for Jesus. A lot of people out there do, but I'm not one of them. A lot of people say, well, Jesus told me. Okay, that's your business. I don't get into religion. However, I will say this. I am certain that there are a lot of people who at that time and even today were jealous of Jesus for being able to make wine out of water. At party time, right?
That's true.
All right, that's true. And I have no idea. All I can say is that I'm sure a lot of people were jealous of him. So it goes. Thank you for emailing that, whoever did that. Okay, we have a new one here. Dear Dr. Paul, this sounds strange, I know, but my fiance said we should get your opinion on where to get married. What? He said, since you have been married more than once, you probably have good ideas about it. And she puts in her LOL. But we are serious. Not just what state or country to be married in, but the laws in those states, too. And we really want to know about some honeymoon places. We will not be surprised if you don't read this, but he dared me to ask. Dr. Paul will read anything if it's, within range of not having four-letter words in it, mostly. Okay, yeah, Dr. Paul's married a couple times. We know that. But be sure to use those prenup agreements. They work real well. Okay, number one, and I think you had a good question here about states. Some states now require you, I don't know why they do this. It's so ludicrous. You've got to take a 3 or 5 hour course before you can get married about marriage. I mean, come on. We're adults. I think the state of Florida has something like that, some sort of premarital course that you have to take. We're not talking about intercourse here. We're talking about an actual sit-down course that you have to take and answer questions. I kid you not.
What is a course? When did it come into play?
Apparently, over the course, I guess, in the last several years. But before you get married, my understanding is that you have to sit down and sit with a minister or a public official or something and take this course and answer questions. I mean, to me, that makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, it's certainly a romantic thing to do, isn't it? Oh, it's all about money, you think? Bill, I can't believe you're so cynical. You think it's all about money? You're right. Okay. Well, first of all, check the state and make sure that's not the issue. Next one. Las Vegas, baby, you can get married there and, have a nice life. That's how it works. So just check the laws of the states or the countries where you might be wanting to go. A friend of mine, attorney, recently got married in the Bahamas. Had a great experience, had a great place, had an enjoyable wedding, and got married in the Bahamas. I guess the country of the Bahamas, and Nassau, blesses the marriage, and it's kind of like another Las Vegas. So there's a place. Now, honeymoons. Well, one neat place to go is if you're going to another country. I would suggest a great honeymoon is to take one of these cruises that go all the way down the Rhine and into the Moselle rivers throughout Europe. And it's, I think, Viking cruises. Cruise is a great way to go. I don't like the super ships, the huge ones. There's just too many people. But I like the smaller ships, not the super small ships. But they have these things now that are just horrific. They're humongous. I don't go on those. But I've been over 20 cruises. That's a great way to go. Las Vegas, wonderful place. Nice thing about a cruise is you can go up to a variety of places. If you go to the Mediterranean, you go all around the Mediterranean, France, Italy, etc. If you go to the Caribbean, again, different ports. Hawaii is always nice. The usual places. But if you want to get away, a quiet place, I'm sure that there are wedding planners online that will be able to help you. And yes, he has been all over the world. And yes, he can recommend some. There's a really beautiful place in Thailand. It's up near Udon Thani, and it's an island up. It's kind of like an island, and they have these small cottages on stilts above water. It's really, really attractive, very romantic. A lot of places. So enjoy, and I wish you well. And thank you for your request and wanting my opinion on where to get married. So you won the dare. I hope whatever you won, and he enjoys giving it to you. Gee, my God, if you don't read this, but he dared me to ask, we will not be surprised if you don't read this. Oh, we did. All the best to you. And congratulations. Dear Dr. Paul, okay, here's another one. This one just came in earlier this evening. You have a lot of cool people on your Facebook page. Me and my girlfriend were looking at it, and we want to put her swimming team there. I hope they're wearing bikinis. Well, maybe not. Okay, I'm sure that they're welcome to be on. And by the way, yes, you're welcome to put her swimming team on, and we welcome any teams, like a woman earlier tonight said, her softball team. Be happy to have you on my Facebook page. Hi, Dr. Paul. This is, the Bearcats from Ohio or Illinois, wherever they were from, and put them on the Facebook page. We welcome that. Okay, we saw you have a cheerleader group. That's right, a very attractive cheerleader group on my Facebook page, and they apparently like the Dr. Paul Show. Some of the guys I work with want their numbers. Yeah, buddy, sure. Don't go there. Remember, your girlfriend and her team may be on the Facebook page. I'm not giving her number out either. I don't even know their numbers. He says, just kidding, let us know. But in all candor, if you want to put your bowling league or your swim team or your cheerleader group or whatever it is on the internet, remember, you got to be over 18. We'll be happy to have you aboard. Tell us, we like the show, whatever it may be. But we have a lot of fun with it, and a lot of people do call in, a lot of emails from people that are belonging to this, and we want you to feel at home with the Dr. Paul Facebook page. I think we found a lot of good things tonight with jealousy, and I want to hit on that a few times more. When one feels that he or she is jealous, that's not always bad. I think the basis from which it comes from is a serious, sincere level. If you're jealous of everything, that's over the top. But if you're jealous to a degree where you're concerned about someone, you care about someone, then you're doing the right thing. Am I right, Bill?
Some jealousy leads into bad things, though.
Well, you're right. When it comes into rage and fire, and then we talked about the passion, but all passion isn't bad either. A lot of people make up, and they have so much fun making up because they had all this passion and fire.
You definitely don't want to end up on Unsolved Mysteries.
And if you do, you don't want to say, well, that's what Dr. Paul said. I don't want to hear that. Oh, my. Or worse than that, what is it, 1,000,000 Ways to Die or 1,000 Ways to Die, whatever it is?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a great one, yeah.
Well, I got jealous, and oh, my goodness, I don't want to hear it. Don't even think about it. But we're not talking about the unhealthy type. We're talking about the healthy type. Because I think what you don't want to do, though, turning it around, is you get jealous of your kids. And that happens, and that's a strange thing, because what parents try to do is live their lives through their kids, things they may have missed. So, little Johnny's going to play on Little League, and if he doesn't get to play, I'm going to throw a tantrum.
Question.
And they do it.
Question.
Yes, Bill.
Now, my father, who lives up north, very pessimistic, but still treats me like I'm 15 years old. I got to be in at 11 o'clock if I'm going up to stay at my dad's house. Is that some form of jealousy?
Yeah, I was just getting into that, as a matter of fact. I'm just getting into that. We do that with our adult children also. We want to be in their shoes. We want them to understand that we are a part of their lives. We're going to live their lives for them. We're going to live through them, and we're going to make sure that they're aware of it. When you see parents ranting at soccer games or Little League games or whatever, they're throwing a tantrum. The kids, they're enjoying the game. But the parents, they're the ones that get into fights. They get into, real serious situations where oftentimes the police are called in. And that's jealousy. Jealous of the fact that they're not there. I don't know what your father's issues happen to be, but it does sound as if he may be jealous of the fact that you're at the age you are. You're single guy, you're welcome to do anything you want to do, and so therefore you are in a control situation effectively. Does that sound right?
That sounds right. I love him, but that's the reason that I don't go visit up there all the time.
Well, sure. That happens a lot of times with adult children. Oftentimes adult children, mothers can be very jealous of their daughters. I've had a case where we had a phone caller, and she said, my mother is jealous beyond belief, and then unbelievable. Guess who was listening on the other line? Her mother. And we had to cut off the conversation. I could hear it, but we had to cut it off on the air. It got nasty. The mother was actually, the woman had called me, and I was talking to her, and the mother was holding the other line and listening. At that point in time, I guess one of the lines in the house. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
So she's really vicariously living her life through her daughters. And there is where you don't want to be. And it happens all the time. Another one happened with some of the emails I've gotten, Bill, are just unreal. I had an email from a woman who divorced her husband and married his dad.
Say what?
She divorced her husband and married her husband's dad.
That sounds like Shania Twain. That's what Shania Twain did.
I didn't know that.
Shania Twain divorced her husband and married
Her husband's father?
married her husband's. I'll have to tell you after. I can't think of it
All right.
this
But
moment.
anyway, that's what the case was with this woman. And when she said why, she said because he was more interesting than her husband. So I can't answer those things. I can only tell you that I'm the messenger. I bring these things to you, and you have to take them for what they're worth. That's the way it is.